Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new Ninjago video here on the channel. My name is TannerFishies. In today's video, we are going to be discussing Ninjago set number 71796, Elemental Dragon versus the Empress Mech. This is a new Ninjago set for Dragons Rising. This came out a couple of months ago. I know I'm kind of late to the party talking about this set, but I originally passed on it because of one major reason. The set contains 1,038 pieces and retails for $129.99, $130 for this set. I think that is ridiculous, and I've always thought that was ridiculous, but I bought this set when I was on vacation just on a whim, figured we could talk about it for today's video because there are some good things about this set. I think the set itself is totally fine. That price though is not. You do get a lot of awesome stuff in this set, including an excellent mech for Empress Beatrix and an amazing lightning dragon, but it doesn't feel like $130 worth of value to me. And the set also has a pretty major play feature that I really just don't care for at all, making this set a pretty mixed bag in my opinion, but it's more so on the positive side. It only has a couple of glaring negatives, and the biggest negative is by far the price. But in today's video, my goal is to simply talk about this set as openly and honestly as possible. So without further ado, let's get to it. Really quick for the box, here we have the front of the box, and here we have the back of the box. The box is still a box. So starting things off with minifigures, here we have Dragons Rising Jay, the main character of this set, I guess, despite Jay not showing up in Dragons Rising just yet. But still, this set is more or less advertised as Jay's dragon. Now this minifigure I really like, probably the best Dragons Rising figure so far out of the core Ninja, but we've already talked about this figure a lot. I still like the colors, I still like the design, I just don't really have any new thoughts regarding this figure. That is still Dragons Rising Jay, and he is still very cool, in my opinion. Next up, we have Dragons Rising Zane right here. He has two golden katanas on his back. Very, very cool. And overall, we've talked about this guy before in a couple of different videos. This is still the same Zane that we've had in some of the other Dragons Rising sets, but it is nice to get more ninja in this set, and Zane is one of those ninja. Still an awesome figure. But yeah, that's about it for Zane. Next up, we have Dragons Rising Sora, the Elemental Master of Technology. Her color scheme still isn't the best. I feel like she could maybe pick a color, you know? Too many colors for my taste, but she does come with two golden katanas as well. I also still really enjoy her cat ear hood and the hairpiece that is kind of formed along with it. So not a bad figure, but probably one of my least favorite ninja minifigures for Dragons Rising thus far. And rounding out the good guys, we have Baby Dragon Ryu, a very cool little animal mold thing for Ryu. We've seen this in some of the other sets as well, but I still really like it. Does not hurt to have an extra one, that's for sure. I think it has excellent printing and molding. Still an awesome inclusion for this set and for Dragons Rising in general. For bad guys, here we have Empress Beatrix. She has one of those awesome Imperium blades. Still really like that piece. That's probably one of my favorite Lego swords now, just in general. And Beatrix here is a pretty cool figure. We've seen her in some of the other sets for sure, but I still really enjoy her figure, her printing, her armor, her haircut especially. Very awesome figure, and she's kind of like a main character of this set too. This set is more or less a Beatrix versus Jay set, and we will talk about that more later on. But still, Beatrix, not a bad figure, not a bad inclusion. Does not hurt to have an extra of her, that's for sure. Next up, we have Lord Rast with his hammer once again. Pretty sure that hammer is the same design that we've seen in some other sets as well. Could be wrong about that though. But the Rast figure is the same one from some other sets. Very cool figure though, all in all. Love his arm printing, love his head molding as well. Very awesome figure. Glad that he comes in this set as well. And finally, we have an Imperium Guard. Now this figure right here is the only minifigure that we have not looked at before in another set review. And this figure, the main difference between this guy and the other Imperium Guards that look just like him, this guy is primarily gold. So yeah, there's the big difference there. Wow, he's gold. He does look pretty cool though. I do like these guys overall in terms of their designs, and having a primary gold one doesn't hurt either. That staff stick thing, that is still the same design that we've seen in some other sets, but that minifigure is technically the only new one that we have not yet looked at on the channel. So yeah, Imperium Guard. So moving on to the actual set in question, here we have the Empress Mech. Figured we could start with the mech, then move on to the dragon. I kind of like this mech a lot actually. It's kind of like a medium-sized mech, and to fit Empress Beatrix in the mech, it's actually quite simple. First of all, her sword can detach, and the mech does have a handy-dandy port over on this arm that you can attach the sword to. There you go. Weapon storage. Awesome. In terms of Beatrix herself, where did she go? There she is. Beatrix herself, you just kind of fold her up, you know, and open the cockpit area right there. There's a place for her to stand, and she just kind of stands in there like so. There we go. Close her back up. And there you go. Now we have the Empress mech with Beatrix inside. And I like how that looks, first of all, with Beatrix's head just kind of sticking out of the top there. The mech doesn't really have a head per se, but Beatrix's head kind of acts as the mech head. I don't think that's such a bad design. Speaking of design, this mech is kind of cool in terms of its design overall. Love the slender shape of the body. I think all the way down to the legs it looks quite nice. Very consistent color scheme with Imperium. Dark red, gold, and black are the primary colors. Also, we have some sticker detailing. These are stickers on the thighs. Awesome sticker detailing, I must say. The mech's arms are asymmetrical. So this arm over here is kind of like a crushing claw thing. You can move the fingers around if you want. It's also hooked up to a hose, which plugs into the very back of the mech. And you have this weird turbine thing back here that can spin a little bit if you so desire. Sometimes the armor does get in the way. Speaking of the armor, I like that shoulder pad piece. You can also adjust that as well, moving it up and down. Very, very cool. Any which way you want to pose that, you totally can. And I kind of like the crushing claw arm. The other arm is a little bit more skinny, but I feel like that's okay because it has this gigantic Imperium sword, which is quite impressive, I must say. Love that blade piece. Pretty sure that's new for this year, but it might have been used on some other sets before. I don't really know. Feel free to actually me in the comments. We also have this nice ring here. You know, it's a ring. Another smaller ring down on the very bottom of the sword. It is an interesting looking sword. I'm not really too obsessed with the sword, though. It's just a sword. It looks interesting, and it is plugged into the hand using one of those Technic pins. So again, more of this cheater method. We've seen other mechs do this as well, but still it is an efficient way of having your mech hold the sword, and if you want to remove the sword altogether, you totally can. Just put that off to the side, and now you have just a normal mech. The sucky thing about that, though, if you remove the sword, the mech doesn't have a thumb over on this hand, unless you count that Technic pin as a thumb. Moving on to articulation, though, for the mech itself. The shoulders have ball joints, so those can be posed any which way you want. Elbows are also on ball joints. That is the same design for both arms. The articulation of the shoulder armor we already discussed. That can go up and down if you want. You know, you can do that. The hand over on this arm, those fingers can move. Again, no thumb. But on this hand, the claw hand, all of these fingers can be posed, and you can get a little bit of that action going if you so desire as well. You can flip the bird. Always an important thing to note. That hand is also on a ball joint, so that can spin. It is independent of the actual arm, so there you go. You can, you know, easily disconnect the claws too, because why not? But yeah, articulation in the hands and the arms in general, not too bad. There is no waist joint, but you can adjust this flag, which I kind of tucked underneath it for some reason. You can do that too if you want. That's not a bad look, but it's supposed to be like a skirt flag thing. Otherwise, yeah, no waist articulation. Cockpit can open. We've already discussed that. The legs are also built rather nicely. I like the armor pieces that are used on the hips. Excellent use of that part right there. I love how that looks. Also, the legs can kick because they are on a ball joint. Thankfully, the mech does have knees. Even though this mech is rather small, it does have an excellent knee system. Very good. And it stops about that far. So you can bend it back that far, kick it forward that far. The mech itself can kick forward rather well, I'd say. Good range of motion there. The feet are also kind of awkward. First of all, the feet articulation, it's on a ball joint, so you can move that any way you want, but the feet are not flat. There's this weird angle here just because of how the feet are built, and as such, the mech does have a hard time standing sometimes. Sometimes it flops over a little bit too easily for my taste. But still, you can get some excellent poses out of the mech, that's for sure. But still, I really like how this mech turned out. I think this mech is pretty awesome. Definitely not worth it just in general if you're going to get the set just for the mech. If you're buying the set just for the mech, I'd recommend maybe looking for some other way to get just the mech on its own, because the set itself is kind of a little bit too expensive to justify buying just for the mech. But still, really cool design overall for this mech. I like it a lot. What else is there to say? So now, moving on to the elemental dragon, or the lightning dragon itself. First of all, excellent color scheme. I love the blues, the yellows, the tans, the gold. It all just looks really cool. I think the dragon itself is fantastic in terms of its color scheme. I also like how big he is. He is a pretty large guy. In fact, let's bring in the Empress Mech really quick, because it's kind of an uphill battle for the Empress Mech, I must say. The dragon is a lot bigger, a little bit taller too, and also a lot beefier. The dragon feels like it could rip this thing to shreds easily, but maybe this gigantic sword can help out a little bit in this fight. But for a set that's supposed to be like a versus thing, I kind of feel like the set is kind of one-sided towards the dragon, but who knows? Maybe Beatrix's mech has a lot of bells and whistles to it that we haven't seen just yet from the Dragon's Rising series. But taking the Empress mech away once again, let's talk more about this dragon. Like I said, the color scheme is fantastic, but he's also rather large. I love the wingspan. Let's pan up really quick so we can take a look at those wings. Very cool. The wings are on ball joints, and these are vinyl pieces right here. Kind of wish they were fabric. The vinyl pieces, in my experience, aren't as high quality as fabric wings might have been, but still, awesome wingspan, great color scheme with the wings as well. And because of how they are attached to the body, that of course being with a ball joint, you can get a whole bunch of motion out of this. You can flap it easily if you want. I kind of like to tuck it up back into the body sometimes, just to get that type of look going. I think that looks rather nice. And overall, the dragon itself looks rather nice as well. I like the angles that this dragon has. This dragon feels like a lightning dragon, not just in terms of the color scheme, but also in terms of the angles. A lot of sharp angles here makes it seem like it's a dragon made out of like a thunderbolt, for example. And I think that's super cool. Really quick, let's spin around to the back. The back is also done rather nicely. Lots of dark blues used on the back as well. You might also notice a saddle back there where you can fit a figure. In this case, you can get Jay out from the corner of the desk and put him right in there like so, and now Jay can be riding on the dragon. There is another way to connect Jay to the dragon. We will talk about that here momentarily, but overall this is not a bad look. I like it a lot. I think the dragon looks excellent. Probably not the best lightning dragon ever made. I still kind of prefer some of the other lightning dragons. The wings are kind of getting in the way. See, that's how big this wingspan is. They're getting in the way of me turning the thing around. Yeah, like I said, probably not the best lightning dragon ever, but pretty dang close, I'd say. This dragon has a lot that I like about it, and that includes the articulation. First of all, the neck ball joint right there. Very good. And ball joint right there on the part where the head connects to the neck. So we have a neck segment in the middle. Same deal with a lot of other dragons. Unfortunately, sometimes the ball joint isn't strong enough to hold up the massive head, and it can flop around a lot, and it can make the head droop a little bit, so that's not super great. Speaking of the head design, that head is fantastic. Nice printed piece used there. We also have a dragon core on the top of the head, and also a sticker piece right here as well. But in terms of articulation, yeah, you can pose this around. It is on a ball joint, like I said. You can open the mouth, thank goodness. It'd be a pretty dumb decision if they had a dragon that could not open its mouth. You can also adjust these lightning pieces if you want to, if you want those angled more upwards or more flush to the head. I kind of prefer to have them more flush to the head. Kind of looks like he's biting a bolt of lightning if you want to view it from that perspective. Otherwise, head articulation, very, very good. The neck also has a little bit of articulation there, but like I said, the head is a little bit too heavy, so it tends to droop. That's okay. The dragon does have some arms, and these arms are attached with a ball joint at the shoulder. We also have some very cool finger articulation going on here too, and he can also flip the bird. How about that? What an angry dragon this is. A very rude, angry dragon. What the heck, rude, angry dragon. But no, also has a thumb. Awesome. Glad to see. And unfortunately, there is not an elbow, but it does have one of those Evo mech pieces sculpted in there. So you kind of get like a simulated elbow. You can kind of see it from that side too. Also, we have stickers right there and right there. Same deal on the other side. But overall, very excellent articulation for the arms, I'd say. You can get some pretty funny poses out of this guy. Like, just look at this guy. He is mad about something. Someone really irritated the lightning dragon. There really isn't any waist articulation. This is just like one solid piece right there, but I like how the belly is constructed. I think that texturing looks nice. Kind of looks like dragon scales, but you can adjust the legs. The legs are on clickety-clackety ratchet joints at the hips, very cool. Also ratchet joints to splay the legs out as well. So you can get these legs in a variety of different poses and styles. I think that's awesome articulation for the legs. No knees, but you do get, again, a simulated sculpted knee, just in terms of the way that it's built right there. So no knees, unfortunately, for the dragon, but you do get that simulated knee bend. Also sticker used right there. The feet are kind of bizarre. I'm not a huge fan of the feet. The claws look kind of small and dainty considering how massive the foot is, and the foot is attached to 2 ball joints back here. So you can turn that, turn this if you want. You can pose the foot. It's just kind of weird the way that the feet are set up. The feet can hold up the dragon though, so that's good. Also in terms of the tail, ball joint, and a tiny couple of ball joints right here. Look at how cool that tail looks. And you can adjust these lightning pieces too if you want. Very spiky, very electric looking dragon. You can get some nice poses out of him. I think that's good. The dragon is very expressive as well. And if you really wanted to, you could have him be on all fours. You know, just use these front arms as like an extra set of legs. But I kind of prefer to have him like this, where he's kind of standing on his hind legs. You know, just looking at his enemies, I suppose. The dragon core also doesn't do much. We talked about that earlier, but other dragons have the ability to launch that core out. This dragon doesn't. It just kind of sits there in his head, so, you know, you can't really do much with that. I do like the design, though. It does look pretty cool. There's just no action feature involved with this or anything, so it's kind of awkward at the end of the day. The set also gives you this thing, and honestly, I'm not a huge fan of this entire situation that we have here with this thing. So this is more or less a jet for Jay. Jay just kind of fits in there like so. There you go. And he kind of has a little jet flyer thing. It can shoot. You do have these missiles that can shoot if you want, these little stud shooters. Sticker detailing right there and right there. Those are nice stickers. Has J's symbol plus lightning on it, so I guess that's interesting. You can adjust these things too if you want, but overall this thing is a pretty disappointing little jet flyer, and the only reason why it exists is to upgrade the dragon. And like I said, I'm not a huge fan of this process. I don't think this process makes any sense. But what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to split the entire thing apart. So these 2 fins on the back pop off pretty easily. These will be used on the dragon later on. Also, this whole assembly with the wings pops off. Throw those to the side. Same thing on the other side. Pop off. Throw to the side. These things are held on there just with clips. Detach that. Throw that to the side. Detach this. Throw that to the side. And then you're just left with this, and you can throw that to the side too. But yeah, these are all the parts that will be used to upgrade the dragon, and I kind of don't like this. So first of all, you're going to come to the back, and you are going to detach the little saddle thing where Jay sits. Just throw that off to the side. You don't need that right now. Then you're going to get the big glorified battery that Jay sits in. Move the wings so you can actually see what you're doing here. I can't see what I'm doing. You guys can't see what I'm doing, but I don't really. It's all right. Plug it in right there on the back. There you go. Now Jay is in his weird battery compartment thing. On the back of the dragon, you can kind of see what that looks like. Then you take these couple of spikes, if I could find the other spike, these 2 spike pieces, and these will attach right there and right there on the head. And you can adjust those any way that you want, but you just clip those in there like so. Clip this in there like so. There we go. And you got some new little spikes on the top of the dragon head. Awesome. Then you come to the wings, and the wings have a spot right there on either side. Those will be the new home of these wing extender pieces. Plug that in like so. Same thing on the other side. Plug it in. Plug it in. There we go. And now you have some extended wings with new feathers on it, I guess. Or what do dragons have? They don't have feathers, do they? Then you take these things, these missile launchers, because every good dragon needs missile launchers. And those will go right here on the back of the wings. So you plug it in like so. Just line it up and plug it on in. And same thing on the other side. Like I said, you can give missile launchers to the dragon because why not? And there you have the new upgraded dragon, I guess. And I'm not a huge fan of this. I feel like it's a little bit overkill. It also doesn't make much sense, like I said. A jet breaking apart and connecting to the dragon. Is this supposed to be like armor on the dragon, or is it more so just like a dragon extender if you don't want to think too much about it? I don't know. I don't think it looks all that great. I mean, sure, it kind of looks like a more angry more beefed up dragon, but honestly the dragon looked good as it was before. I don't think this upgrade is necessary, and I think ultimately at the end of the day it's kind of stupid. So I will definitely not be displaying the dragon with this weird jetpack upgrade thing. That's just not something that I subscribe to. I really don't like that idea at all, but it is a thing that you can do if you do want to do it, I suppose. And really quick before we wrap up, here we have the instruction booklet itself, and also the spent sticker sheet, the spare parts, and the brick separator. So overall, what are my thoughts on this set right here, the Elemental Dragon versus the Empress Mech? Like I said, I feel like the biggest thing holding this set back is the price. If you can find it on sale for maybe $100, I'd say go for it, because to me, it's worth $100 as opposed to $130. If it were $100, this set would have been amazing. But it's not. Instead, they're charging you $30 extra for what, in my opinion, is not $30 worth of stuff. It kind of feels like the play feature was kind of thrown in there last minute as a way to justify the price, but ultimately the play feature with the jet is just really dumb and kind of unnecessary. They could have maybe excluded the entire jet altogether and dropped the price by a little bit. That would have been nice. Because as it stands, I really enjoy the Lightning Dragon, I love the Empress Mech, those are both awesome inclusions, and the minifigure selection is pretty great as well. I just feel like those couple of glaring issues ultimately hold this set back, and I feel like I can't fully recommend this set. But if you can find it on sale, I'd say go for it, because it is an awesome set. It's just a shame about those couple of issues. And with that being said, guys, that'll pretty much wrap it up for my thoughts here. Those have been my thoughts on the Elemental Dragon versus Empress Mech set from Ninjago Dragons Rising. Leave all of your thoughts down below. What do you think about this set? Do you like it? Do you not like it? And hopefully you enjoyed this review. If you did, feel free to like and subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I will talk to you guys again very, very soon. Peace.